Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Because Rivendell has just come out, I wanted to do a little wishlist video of what I would like to see from the LEGO Lord of the Rings theme going forward. This wouldn't really be one wave, it's kind of more like two waves, but I just went crazy thinking of all the sets I would like to see. I do have some remakes on here of the 2012 to 2014 sets, and I've got a bunch of new ones as well. These sets are inspired by the Lord of the Rings movies, the Hobbit movies, and even the Rings of Power, because originally I was going to make this video when that show was airing. But to be fair, while I really love the show, it's not really iconic yet, there's not really that much to base sets off of, so we're going to go ahead and jump into things with the sets based on the Lord of the Rings movies. The smallest one would be Durin's Bane, with around 300 pieces for $35. It would include minifigures of Gandalf, Frodo, and Sam, and the build would consist of the Balrog and maybe a little bit of Mines of Moria scenery. I think the Balrog should have vinyl wings and a molded head, but other than that, it should be completely brick built. I want it to look similar to the ones from the video games, but obviously updated to modern standards. And I think there should be some kind of scenery build. I don't think we could get a whole bridge in a $35 set, or even a section of a bridge. And I think it's important to have small sets. I don't want everything to be like an $80 to $120 set. So just give us like a little tomb with a skeleton or something like that, just to set the scene a bit. I don't have that many small sets, but this one is like medium small. I think we should get an Oliphant attack set with around 500 pieces for $60. We could get minifigures of Legolas, Gimli, and 2 orcs. And this set would consist of a brick-built Oliphant with the buildable war tower on top. Now, I know they were molded in the Lord of the Rings video game, but these things are huge in universe. I really don't think they should be molded, even though I really like the big LEGO molded animals, which I know is a little bit of a controversial opinion. So yeah, I think it should be brick built like that new Monkey Kid set, because I think LEGO could still do something pretty cool. Maybe it could have a molded head or even molded legs like that Star Wars animal from a couple of years ago, or I guess many years ago now. But if you went with like a molded head and molded legs, but maybe a brick-built body, I think that you could split the difference and still have something that looks really good, but doesn't take up like a ton of pieces. The buildable war tower should, again, be big enough to look like a war tower, so I'm thinking it would have space for 5 orcs in total. But again, maybe my thinking of the scale on this is totally off. This might have to be bigger than a $60 set. I am going through these sets in the order of media first, like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and then upwards in price. So our next set is $80. I think it should be Sauron's helmet with 700 pieces, and it's going to be very simple. It's going to be a build of Sauron's giant spiked helmet. Do it like the Darth Vader helmet. Make it like one of the biggest ones, make it one of the best ones, because honestly, this would be the perfect display item. Sauron has a very iconic look, and I think getting a helmet set for him is a no-brainer. Honestly, I would even be tempted to say just do like a Black Panther-sized bust of Sauron's armor for like $350, because even that would be awesome, but I definitely think LEGO would do a set for his helmet, because, I mean, what else? There's no other helmet set you could really make for Lord of the Rings, and it's just so iconic. We need something Sauron-related from LEGO. The next set is our first remake. I think that we should get a remake of the Attack on Weathertop set from 2012, with around 650 pieces for $90. I know that sounds insane, but you know what? That's kind of where LEGO is trending in prices nowadays, and I am trying to make these seem fairly realistic. I totally have some wishlist items on here, but I'm also trying to pick sets that I think would sell well, and I'm trying to price them and size them accurately. So do a straight remake of the 2012 set. I don't remember all of the minifigures that came in that one, but here I'd love to see Aragorn, Merry, Pippin, Frodo, and 2 ring wraiths. Include exactly the same build as the first one, with a hilltop, the ruins, and a couple of horses for the ring wraiths. And again, updated to modern design standards, I think that that would just look absolutely beautiful, because I still really like the appearance of that 2012 set. Also, as you can see, I'm peppering in Fellowship members across all of these sets. I'm trying to make sure that you can assemble a full Fellowship of the Ring by buying a few of these retail sets, so that you don't just have to buy Rivendell to get all of them. The next set would be a remake of the 2013 Battle at the Black Gate, which I think is just an epic set. I do own it, but unfortunately it's been like parted out in my collection since 2014, so I haven't had it built in many years. My pitch for the remake would be make it 1,000 pieces, so significantly larger than the last one. Retails for about $120. Again, in terms of minifigures, mostly a straight remake. Let's get a king version of Aragorn, let's get Gandalf the White, let's get the Mouth of Sauron, let's get 1 Ringwraith and 2 Orcs. This time, I think the Blackgate build should include both towers, because the way the old set worked is that they kind of wanted you to buy 2 of them and put them together, which was just weird, because then you had like 4 opening doors instead of like just 2 opening doors for the gate. But the big thing that I think LEGO should introduce in this set is a molded Fell Beast. The molds for those things were so cool in the Lord of the Rings video game, and it's a no-brainer to include in a set like this. I did have to look it up to see if the Fell Beasts were at this like scene, this battle scene in the books and movies, and they were. They were like flying overhead, and then they raced to Mount Doom when Sauron knew that Frodo was there. So I think that this would be the perfect set to introduce a molded Fell Beast in. Now, the price might be a little bit unrealistic. It might be more like 900 pieces for $120 if we're getting a huge molded dragon and all those new minifigures, but I think that this sounds like the perfect Lord of the Rings playset. And now we come to the 2 direct-to-consumer Lord of the Rings sets I would really like to see. Number 1 is, of course, Minas Tirith with 4,000 pieces for around $350. I think that would be the perfect size to get something that is huge and really impressive, but not ridiculously priced. I love Rivendell. I'm in the process of building it right now. But let's be honest, it's $500. Not everyone can afford something that big. Not everyone could afford a $350 set either, but $350 is still more accessible than $500. I'd love to see a lot of minifigures here. Again, I'm basing this off of the amount of new minifigures we got in Rivendell. Without Rivendell, I would say that this seems unrealistic, but the minifigure count in that set just blew me away. So in Minas Tirith, I would want minifigures of Aragorn, Gandalf the White, Legolas, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, Denethor, Faramir, Theoden, Éomer, Éowyn, the Witch King of Angmar, and 4 Orcs. The reasoning behind that: Aragorn, Gandalf the White, Legolas, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, those can all be remakes reused from other sets. But then we've got Denethor, Faramir, Theoden, Éomer, Éowyn, the Witch King. Those are all the new minifigures, and I think that asking for, that's like 6 new minifigures with like, let's hope for like new face prints, new torso prints, new leg prints, even new molds for the helmets, I don't think that's too much to ask for based on how amazing Rivendell was. So I would hope that that's the kind of care and attention LEGO would put into Minas Tirith. Of course, we need a little orc army, which is why I want to see at least 4 of them in the set, because it does need to feel like a proper battle. And honestly, the Witch King, that's a minifigure that LEGO needs to make. I've been waiting for a Witch King minifigure for so long. And yes, we have the Wraith version, but come on, I want a version of the Witch King with that iconic helmet. The build of this set would of course be Minas Tirith with multiple tiers. I always think back to that idea set that I actually voted on back in 2013. I would obviously want something larger than that at a $350 price point, but to me that set was like a really good kind of like sketch concept of how you could build Minas Tirith and not have it cost like $1,000. I think it would be a no-brainer to include some kind of side build for the villains like Grond the Battering Ram, or even just generic catapults or something like that. And I think in this set you should absolutely reuse the molded Fell Beast from that Battle at the Black Gate set, and maybe include some horses as well. I would really like to see more LEGO horses, so I would love it if Theoden and Éomer at least got horses to ride into battle on. Finally, the last direct-to-consumer Lord of the Rings set I would want to see is, of course, Barad-dur with around 6,000 pieces for $500, similar to Rivendell. This is a little bit cheating because we kind of know that LEGO's working on this set. A sketch concept was leaked on that massive survey leak from a few weeks ago, so we know that LEGO is at least thinking of making a Barad-dur set, and of course they are. It's a no-brainer. Like I said, we have the Tower of Orthanc, we need Barad-dur to complete our 2 towers. Minifigures here could include Frodo, Sam, Gollum, Sauron, the Witch King again, and then I just threw in 4 Ringwraiths and 4 Orcs. You don't really need that many minifigures in Barad-dur because, I mean, we don't go in it in the movies, as far as I know. Like, I don't think there's any scenes set in Barad-dur. It's already cheating to have, like, a minifigure of Sauron since he couldn't take that form during the Third Age that Lord of the Rings is set in. But we need a Sauron minifigure, and this is the set to give it to us in. Frodo and Sam... Actually, no. Frodo and Sam could not be remakes. I was about to say they should be remakes. No. Give me dirty, battle-damaged versions of them in this set. The Witch King could be a remake. The Orcs and Ringwraiths can, of course, be remakes. But honestly, if LEGO were to make this set, I don't think that they would throw 4 Ringwraiths and 4 Orcs into here. I want the build to be similar in style to the Tower of Orthanc, which I still think is a pretty perfect set. That was my first big LEGO set ever, and when I say big, I mean that set that cost over $200. I love that thing. so I want it to be similar to Orthanc, but I want them to improve on Orthanc by making Barad-dur closed all the way around and just have a removable wall instead of being open at the back like a dollhouse. Of course, it should include the Flaming Eye of Sauron. I would want to see at least one, if not more, light bricks go into lighting up that eye build, and hopefully it would be able to rotate a little bit. I don't really know how LEGO would pull that off, but honestly, something else I'd love to see is the ability to leave the light on. That's something I've been wanting from LEGO light bricks ever since I was a kid. You have to constantly press on them to keep them lit up, and I would really love it if LEGO would just like build some kind of stopper that would let you leave the light on for like at least a minute, just so you could like take a picture of the set. I think LEGO should just make up some interior details. They kind of did that in Orthanc, and those rooms were perfect. I loved the interior details in Orthanc. So I know Frodo was imprisoned somewhere in Mordor in the books and I think in the movie, but it wasn't in Barad-dur as far as I'm aware. Make it Barad-dur. Build a little prison for Frodo. Make up a throne room for Sauron. Include the Palantir, because we know that he was communicating with Saruman using it. So just make up some interior details, because I think that those would be really nice to see. Moving on to The Hobbit, I think the first set that we should get based on those movies is a remake of the Escape from the Mirkwood Spiders set. I'm thinking 350 pieces for about $45, just because I think that that's how LEGO's pricing stuff nowadays. For minifigures, we should get Bilbo, Thranduil, Legolas, and Gloin. And like I said, straight remake of the 2012 set. Give us 2 spiders, give us 2 trees, and for the love of God, give us Thranduil's elk. I love Thranduil. He's one of my favorite characters in Middle-earth, just because I thought he was so cool, like when I was a kid and the Hobbit movies were coming out. I mean, I wasn't a child, I was a teenager, but I thought that he was really cool. And even though he's not in this scene in the movie, this is where I'm talking about my wish list coming in. I'd want LEGO to throw him in here because selfishly, I just want another minifigure of him. Legolas should be a new version, different from the Lord of the Rings version, and I think that including Gloin here would be really cool because we should have another dwarf character, and we got an old version of Gloin in Rivendell, which I was not expecting at all, so I think that it would be pretty cute to follow it up, like a year or 2 later, with the younger version of him. As for Thranduil's elk, reuse the stag mold from Harry Potter. I know that it doesn't really look anything like the elk, but I don't expect LEGO to make a new mold for it, and I definitely don't want to see a hideous brick-built version, so just reuse the stag and everyone is happy. This next Hobbit set is one that I'm pretty excited that I came up with. I think we should get a displayable Smaug with 800 pieces for around $70. Build it in the same style as the Harry Potter Hungarian Horntail set, because that set was really amazing, and Smaug would be so cool if he was built in a similar style. I said in my review of that set, that's like a perfect dragon. I just wish it wasn't attached to the stand. So honestly, don't attach it to the stand. For Smaug, don't include that wing cranking feature that the Harry Potter sets do. It's a nice feature, but when I built the Hungarian Horntail, I just wanted to be able to pick it up off the stand and use it with minifigures. I think that's what Smaug should be. He should be a displayable item, but he shouldn't have like a useless built-in wing crank feature. He should be able to be detached from the stand and played with minifigures. I would expect to see vinyl or cloth wings for him. I really don't think brick-built wings work for this style of dragon, and the cloth wings looked really good on the Hungarian Horntail, so I'd like to see something similar done for Smaug. And include an exclusive minifigure. Give us Bilbo in his mithril shirt with the Arkenstone. I know that he wasn't wearing the mithril shirt in his scene with Smaug, but I think it would be really important to include a Bilbo minifigure in this set, and it's an easy exclusive variant, It's still related to the Lonely Mountain, and so I think that that would just, again, be a no-brainer. And of course, the final Hobbit set I would want to see is a remake of Bag End. I love the original Bag End set. It is just, again, it's nearly perfect. It's so good, especially for the time it came out in. So imagine what LEGO could do with today's building techniques. Like, just think about how much smoother they can get builds now than they could in 2012. I would want to see a Bag End with around 1,500 pieces for $170. As for minifigures, I want to see Bilbo, Gandalf, Thorin, Balin, Dwalin, Fili, and Kili. Those are the most important dwarves in the Hobbit series. I know that there are a lot of other ones. I know that we got all of them in 2012. But who really cares about most of the other ones, to be perfectly honest? Honestly, the only ones I care about really are Thorin, Balin, and Dwalin. So I think getting 5 dwarves would be more than enough. We wouldn't get too many new minifigures here. Give us an exclusive Bilbo, reuse Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings sets, and then obviously the 5 dwarves would have to be new minifigures with some new molds. but I think that that's reasonable to expect after the standard that Rivendell set. This should be a remake of the 2012 set again, but fully closed around the back, just like I said for Barad-dur. Let's have a removable wall, let's have it split open in the middle, but let's not have it dollhouse style. Let's really make a nice display piece. It should obviously be bigger than the original, but not huge. You know, the original was still a pretty decent size. You don't want it to get super out of scale to the minifigures themselves. So that's why I really think that LEGO should just make it deeper. You know, just fully close the back so that you can add some more rooms, but the actual exterior doesn't need to be that much larger than the original set. And finally, I've got one set based on the Rings of Power. I fully believe LEGO will make sets based on the show one day. It's supposed to go for 5 seasons, and it already had high viewership despite like some mixed critical and fan reception. So I fully believe that the Rings of Power is just going to keep picking up steam. I think it will become a huge iconic cultural phenomenon, and eventually LEGO can and should make sets based on it. However, I don't know what's going to happen in future seasons. I would love a set based on the final battle with Sauron, but that's probably like 10 years away if they're going to take 2 years to make each season. So based on season 1, if LEGO were to make a set, I would want to see a Númenórean ship with around 900 pieces for $100. Minifigures would include Galadriel, Halbrand, Miriel, Elendil, and Isildur. The build would of course be the Númenórean ship itself, with some really beautiful cloth sails, because I really like the design of those ships in the movie. The sails are very impressive, and include a little side build of Halbrand's raft. This isn't a super exciting set, I know, but I still think it would be really cool. I love LEGO ships in general, and the Númenórean ships in the show have such a unique design. I would really like to see what LEGO could do with that. Like I said, I would expect LEGO to make a set based on the show eventually, just to test the waters, but it would probably be smaller than $100, so this is kind of like a major wishlist item. But that about does it for my Lord of the Rings wishlist, at least for this year. We'll see if we get any playsets. I don't think we're getting any playsets in 2023. I think it's just Rivendell, which is more than okay. I love Rivendell, but if we were getting sets in the summer, we would have heard rumors of them by now. So let's see what happens in 2024. Maybe we'll get that Barad-dur set. Maybe we're going to get playsets, but this is what I would like to see. And honestly, I think most of these sets would be no-brainers for LEGO. You know, like a Black Gate set, a Weathertop set, even like a helmet set. Just make it, LEGO. You know, like what do you have to lose? Like just roll out a small playset wave of like 3 to 4 of these ideas. So that's what I really hope they're working on behind the scenes. Let me know what you guys think about my list. Is there anything else you would have liked to see me include? And let me know if you want me to make another one of these videos, because I'd be more than happy to do another wishlist video in the future. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.